Are you an up-and-coming fashion stylist wondering how you can begin to book more professional fashion styling roles and just wondering what type of fashion styling roles are there? Well, stay tuned because I'm going to break it down for you. And this is part one of part two of a two-part series. So keep it locked. Hi Brave Souls, welcome back to Brave Mo Studios, where we give you the most practical steps to help you become a successful fashion stylist and fashion industry creative. Today is part one of a two-part series that I'm going to be doing on how to book fashion stylist roles. You may want to go ahead and go back to my video about the top 4 styling careers, because this is going to delve deep into fashion styling, whereas the top 4 fashion styling career paths video breaks down the difference between fashion styling, personal shopping, and celebrity styling, and costume design. So first, let's break down the 3 primary types of jobs. So that would be 1, a freelancer, 2, a contractor, or 3, full-time. A freelancer is someone who is hired for a particular period of time and just probably for 1 or 2 projects. You may even be working with this company for a week. You could be styling a particular shoot for a week and they may call you back for another shoot the following week, but really you're only booked for 1 particular project. And then you have a contractor, where this is usually, it's similar to freelancing, but you are working for a longer period of time that is stated in a contract. So with freelancing, you don't have a contract, where with as a contractor, you have a contract, and it literally just says, okay, we're going to book you for 3 months or a year to work with us on these series of projects or something of that nature, whatever the company is. And then once that contract ends, they may give you an option to extend it or renew it, or you can move on to the next role. A full-time role is something you're probably familiar with, and that is, again, you're hired on full-time. There's no end date. It's not just for 1 project. You work full-time with a company. So now here are 4 primary types of fashion stylist jobs. You can either be a commercial or ad stylist. You could be working for a fashion magazine, so that means you could be a fashion director, you could be a market editor, a fashion editor. There's tons of fashion styling types of roles within magazines, fashion magazines that is. You can be a still life stylist, or even working with props, flat lay, things like that, which is also on the commercial side. Or you could be doing e-commerce and on-figure styling. So let's break those down a little bit. So commercial styling, this can be for print ads or for commercials you see on television. So think about this, literally every single commercial you see on TV, it could be anything from an Advil commercial to, a commercial for Bloomingdale's. Either way, that commercial has a stylist, and that would be a fashion stylist. So this stylist is actually hired on and this is a freelance role, generally speaking. This is usually freelance, and they'll hire you just for that 1 commercial, and they'll say, hey, we need a certain amount of looks, a certain type of looks with certain color scheme, what have you. It depends on the project, and you would go and style. You would pull clothes for that commercial based on whatever type of storyboard that they've given you. They may have a mood board. You style it, and you're on set for that commercial, and that's that. There may also be opportunities where you're able to consistently style for a particular company. So they may have commercials that they are constantly rolling out, and so they may continually hire you for that commercial, but that still would be generally a freelance role unless they decide to do a contract with you, which is great because you know that you have a consistent flow of income from that particular company for a particular period of time. Another type of fashion stylist role could be in a fashion magazine. And there are a plethora of roles that incorporate fashion styling. Although not all roles in the fashion magazine are stylist roles, that's something to keep in mind. But in terms of professionals who work in fashion magazines who are doing some sort of styling, they could generally be a market editor. And this person, they would be generally assisting the fashion editor, the fashion directors, and they would manage all the samples that come in that they're going to be shooting. Sometimes they may even be responsible for helping to come up with the story for a particular spread or feature. That role can really differ depending on the magazine and what they need you to do in that particular space. But But that's actually a really great starter role if you're looking to get into magazines. Looking for market editor positions are great. And again, that's going to get your feet wet into working in the magazines and being able to style. If you want to be a fashion editor, market editor is a great place to start as well. But that's another type of role where you may be responsible for interviewing a particular say you're gonna have a celebrity that's featured in that magazine. You may be responsible for interviewing them and then coming up with the looks that you're gonna style them in, which is really cool. And then you could also be a fashion director, or you may be fashion and beauty director, depending on the magazine and what their bandwidth is. But that person is usually in charge of the rest of the styling and creative team when it comes to the fashion aspect. And then also, of course, you have the editor-in-chief of a magazine. They are responsible for a lot more than how the magazine looks, but of course they are involved in the styling and they do have to kind of sign off on everything to make sure that everything is exactly the way it should be for a particular issue. So another type of styling role could be a still life stylist or a person who does some sort of a fashion prop styling. So there are actual prop stylists that are not fashion stylists. They may be styling for like automotive companies. They could be doing any sort of commercial work for companies that don't have anything to do with fashion or apparel. But as a fashion stylist, you still could be doing something like that. And what you're doing here, and this is also on the commercial side, this is strictly with print. So these are things that you may see in some sort of digital catalog, billboards, even signage that goes into a store. You may see like sale signs and they have these beautiful images on the background that are, you know, a model's foot inside of a shoe, something like that. Those are great examples of what a flat lay or product stylist would be. So this could be on or off figure. And simply off and on figure just means on a model or off a model. So on figure is on a model, off figure is off the model. This styling is you are having to be creative in a new way because you're positioning the clothing in a way that is extremely meticulously neat, but also it sells the product, and you're finding props that go along with it that actually that tell a story about that particular brand or this particular season of clothing, of the collection. It's really cool, and it takes a new spin on creativity. But this is also something that could be more on the freelance side or a contract or full-time depending on the company. Now let me break down 4 ways that you can book these types of roles or any other fashion stylist role for that matter. So believe it or not, some of these roles actually can be found on job boards. In the US, some of the most popular ones would be things like ZipRecruiter, Style Careers, LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor, things like that. You can find some of these roles, either full-time or their contract, and some of them post some freelance ones. Another way that stylists get roles could be through joining a local production union, especially when you're doing more commercial work and if you're interested in doing costume design, which is very different from fashion styling. That's a whole different kind of department. But if you are a part of a union, that helps you to get more consistent work. And the big benefits about being in a union is that you often get health care through unions, because when you work freelance, don't have access to like healthcare like you would get from a company through a full-time position. Also true for contract roles, unless that's in your contract. Generally, you don't have healthcare or any type of benefits, 401k, things like that. So the union actually helps you have all that support that you would usually have with a full-time position, but across all of your freelance job. Being a part of a union can actually get you, help you learn about new roles that are coming out that are really only for union-based stylists, or these are union productions. These could be commercial styling side. So commercials don't, even though it is somewhat like a movie, because it's a video, a motion picture of some sort, they don't always book only costume designers. They sometimes book fashion stylists. So that's where being in a union is very helpful. The third way that many stylists can get these types of roles, or any fashion stylist role, is being represented by a management agency. I always like to make this clear. You have modeling agencies and you have talent management agencies. The modeling agency, they represent the models, right? Well, there's something very similar called management agency that actually represent photographers, manicurists, hair and makeup artists, and of course, stylist. That's of course a great way that you're going to be able to get more consistent roles, and you have someone who is there to negotiate your rates for you and things like that. Sometimes that they require that you've been working in the industry for a longer period of time. There's no set time on that or set years of experience. It really just kind of varies per agency. But generally speaking, you do have to be pretty experienced and really have been working in the industry for a long period of time before you actually could be considered to get signed. But that does not mean that you could not work with this agency. So for my up and coming stylist, this is actually a great way for you to assist stylists. Now, I've probably mentioned this in some other videos before, but you can actually reach out to the management agency and talk with whomever does any sort of scouting or booking agents. They could be different based on the agency and the size of the agency, but whomever is the primary contact there, you'd reach out and express interest in becoming one of their assistant stylists on their book. And what will happen is whenever the key stylists that they represent have their different jobs, particularly the freelance jobs that they get booked for, they always need assistance. And that's where you could come in. You could be not necessarily signed by the agency, but you are kind of in their book of assistant stylists that they always reach out to assist the key stylist. So this is a way for you to get in the, kind of be able to make those relationships with the agency before you become a key stylist. So once you actually develop to that point, it may be a great segue for you to be signed by the agency. And of course, you already know assisting stylist is the best way to get all of your experience and to begin to become a professional stylist yourself. And this actually is a great segue into the very last suggestion I have for you in terms of how you can book fashion stylist roles, and that of course is assisting and your network. Your network is your net worth. Yes, your network is your net worth. In any industry, sometimes it does boil down to who you know. And I don't always like saying that because it just sounds so elite and like, it's because I don't know anyone, I can't get certain roles, but that's not always the truth. Sometimes you just have to network a little bit. And sometimes it even can be the people, most of the time, can be the people who you wind up assisting who see how talented you are, how well you work on set, and they're willing to help you matriculate into other types of roles or getting booked for certain things and, networking. So that's a great way to book roles. I tell people this all the time. Almost every opportunity I've ever had have been through referrals, because the thing is, people like to work with who they like. You wouldn't want to collaborate with people that are snobby or, are mean on set or whatever. You don't want to work with people you don't like. So it's the same in every level of the industry. People book who they want to work with, and that's where having a great network comes in. But again, don't feel pressured right now if you feel like you don't have a great network, because most likely you don't right now if you're up and coming. Slowly build your network as you go along, and I promise things will unfold for you. Well, that's it for part 1, guys. Make sure you click on that notification bell for part 2, where I'll be interviewing one of my sisters here in the fashion industry. She is a vet. She's she's based in the New York and Atlanta areas, and she's gonna give us her tips as to how she has maintained a successful fashion styling career and just be real about the ups and the downs and the reality of being a fashion stylist. So you definitely do not want to miss that. So ring that notification bell so you're the first to see part 2. And if you have any particular questions for me or need some guidance, make sure you go and book a fashion mentorship session with me on my website, down the link below. And like, comment, subscribe, all the above. And until next time, style well, live well, be brave. Peace. Hey Brave Soul, are you looking for a fashion mentor? Well, I am now offering a virtual mentorship service just for you. And guess what? You can go right now on bravemode.com and book a free 30-minute consultation with me. That's right, girl. Free for your first session. The link is in the description box below. I can't wait to talk to you about your career, because there's just so much information about the fashion industry that I just can't fit here on YouTube. So here's your chance. You get to ask me anything you like, and I can give you advice for your individual career journey. How exciting is that? So go right now, in the description box below, bravemode.com, and book your first consultation. I can't wait to meet you. Peace.